on to the meat of Fire Emblem music, its battle themes. One of many traditions in the series is to depict not only the heroics of war, but the chaos and sorrow as well. This kind of balancing act is hard to do in any medium and can often fall short by landing too hard on either side of the scale, losing the intended message in the process. Three Houses battle themes have a hand in keeping the game's message on track in some simple but brilliant ways, and gives levels a unique emotional impact, despite the fact that you're probably fighting your way through the same map for the third or fourth time.
Uh-oh, they've noticed me. Here they come.
A track that encompasses all the techniques the Three Houses team used in its battle music is the song Roar of Dominion. This song only shows up for one battle in the entire main story of Three Houses, and is one of the most emotional battle themes in the game, both for its placement in the story, as well as its composition.
Now, let's separate that sick head from your neck, shall we?
You never were one for patience.
Roar of Dominion hits center stage for Chapter 12 of All Routes, right after Edelgard's plans for a coup have been revealed, as well as her involvement with the main plot up to this point.
Is this some kind of twisted joke?
After declaring herself the Emperor of Adrestia and the Church her enemy, Edelgard launches a full-scale attack on the Church of Saros' seat of power, Garrigmach Monastery, and the Officers' Academy itself.
If we don't stop them, the Academy will be destroyed. Prepare for battle, everyone!
This is the first time in the game that you fight in a serious army-to-army battle. Not only that, but it's against the students, friends, and colleagues that you've spent half the game getting unreasonably attached to.
Professor, why? Do you not see the cruelty of this?
If you somehow missed the impact of the story, Roar of Dominion catches you off guard by beginning to play during the preparation phase of the battle, replacing the normal, light-hearted tune that's played in that phase up to this point. Starting off with a blast of jarring feedback, baritone and tenor horns like trombones and French horns take center stage, while war drums and string flourishes support them, giving you a grim reminder that this is a real battle against former friends, not a small-scale skirmish against nameless NPCs. Brass instruments like trombones and French horns are often used in classical music for underlying intensity, as opposed to their more piercing cousins like the trumpet, which tend to define the main melody. Trombones and French horns can be used to great effect in both heroic-feeling themes as well as epic battle songs in media, as anyone who's seen the Lord of the Rings movies can tell you. After the abrupt and ominous beginning, Roar of Dominion then shifts to a more quiet string-driven section, where the war drums cut out and a cello solos, later joined by a choir. Cellos, aside from being bully bait in elementary school, are one of the most expressive stringed instruments you'll find in an orchestra. This might be because of the years of hauling 25 pounds of cello, case, and gear, but it's hard not to find a cello-centric piece that isn't fraught with emotion. This sudden shift in instrumentation changes the feel of Roar of Dominion from a, roar of a harsh war song to a lamenting one, emphasizing the sadness of fighting people you know personally, ones you may have even called friends, and what the end of this battle will unleash upon the continent of Fodlan itself.
As big class reunions go, this one's gotta be the worst in history.
After this section of the song, the two previous parts of the piece combine into one. Drums and horns, strings and the choir, all fusing musically and thematically. Intense war, with all the grim sadness that comes with it. Sometimes the sadness is more prominent, sometimes the intensity, but both are present until the song loops back on itself, playing perfectly into the themes of the chapter. The map music up until this point in the game is mostly upbeat songs, using electronic drums, trumpets, and a faster tempo to give your fights a more energetic and heroic feel. Roar of Dominion spits in the face of these tracks, answering their optimism with the harsh realities of war. It also foreshadows that the Battle of Garreg Mach won't be a quick dust-up, but the start of a 5-year conflict that will result in countless deaths, including those of friends you've shared meals with,
Just shut up and eat.
fished for, and watched endless cutscenes of them just yakking at each other, and their deaths result from your orders.
I hope someday there will be no fighting and we can all just nap the afternoon away.
The last topic we're going to touch on for this video is the use of medleys. Medleys are one song made up of several other songs and serve a variety of purposes in media. In classical music or theater, you'd probably hear a medley in the form of an overture, which are like previews, parts from all the movements or acts of the piece you're about to hear at the beginning. In modern media like movies, however, it's become a common practice to also sometimes have an ending music medley during the credits, aka the reprise medley. This is possibly to make sure the songs are stuck in your head after you leave the movie theater, so you'll go and buy the soundtrack on the way home. Given that video games like to take inspiration from film, this trend has snuck into the game genre, while gaining some additional storytelling use in the newer format. Also, the soundtrack purchasing reasons still apply. While Three Houses uses both the overture and reprise medley to great emotional effect, the reprise is the real winner when combined with both the format of the Fire Emblem series and the story of Three Houses itself. When used in games, reprise medleys give a sense of pride and accomplishment, making you feel the weight of how far you've come in that game, especially when you've become emotionally invested in the characters and world said video game takes place in, which commonly happens in character-based games like Fire Emblem. Three Houses' final medley track, A Star in the Morning Sky, accomplishes this, plus so much more. Some of the songs that appear in this track include the battle themes The Long Road, Fodlan Winds, Indomitable Will, Tearing Through Heaven, and Chasing Daybreak.
I'll comply.
All shifted into that major key we mentioned earlier. Also there's, well, you'll probably recognize this one if you're a fan of the Fire Emblem series. When the track begins, you are treated to the Fire Emblem tradition of an arcade-style leaderboard, giving your stats for each level you completed, showing you, in a literal sense, how much progress has been made, with Star in the Morning Sky's triumphant-sounding medley of earlier tracks adding to the feeling of nostalgia of several hours earlier. The real kicker, though, is in yet another post-game custom, giving you a few paragraphs about each surviving character's post-war life. With the emotional, celebratory track continuing, you get to read all about your students' peacetime accomplishments and how they became legends in their own right. Without the emotion that Star brings to these proceedings, you'd just be reading a few paragraphs with all the emotional weight of a textbook. Instead, you find yourself tearing up over the lives of fictional characters you never get to see, and of those of characters that you couldn't save. The credits also end with the calming waltz, The Night of the Ball, the song that plays during the school dance around the halfway point of the game. It's an odd choice at first until you realize that Fire Emblem isn't going to let you off the hook that easily. Night of the Ball is there to give you one last emotionally powered kick to the groin by reminding you of one of the last times that everyone was alive and happy. before everything fell apart and the world went to war. The track will continue to loop until you finally wipe the tears away and make a conscious effort to push the button, ending the story to continue on with your own life just as the characters in Three Houses have. If you ask any longtime fan of the Fire Emblem series, they'll probably tell you that finishing one of the games is like saying a bittersweet goodbye to a good friend. We're sad that this is the end of the story, but we're also happy that everything worked out for those who survived their ordeals, and that those individuals were made stronger for it. Music has always been a big part of that Fire Emblem grand finale feel, whether by using callbacks to happier times or overloading your ears with epic celebratory tunes that give one a sense of hopefulness. Fire Emblem Three Houses might not have the kind of soundtrack that would be on your next lo-fi video game beats to chill to playlist, but it triumphs as a companion to the story being told. It becomes intrinsically linked to the cutscenes, characters, and other facets of the story, and helps guide you in the moment to know how the game is trying to make you feel.
To think that the first time I saw you cry, your tears would be for me.
Work like this is usually underappreciated in movies, TV, and in video games as well, because it's the type of work you only notice if something goes wrong. Sound design and musical choices impact a lot of what you feel in media, and definitely adds to the overall experience, even if it's hard to pinpoint exactly why at that moment. There's a ton to talk about when it comes to the soundtrack of Fire Emblem Three Houses, but we'll cut ourselves off before we get to a support conversation length. What did you think about our take on Three Houses music? What was your favorite track, moment, or character? And why is it Edelgard?
Well, if you insist.
Let us know in the comments below, and as usual, share any suggestions you might have for future videos. In the meantime, keep up with your training, remember to eat, and we'll see you next time.